We are recording, and let me start recording the audio. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 810. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Thank you very much for downloading and subscribing to the show. Please visit the main website, and I always say MikeTechShow.com, but it moves you to MikeNation.net, and that confuses everybody. So go to MikeNation.net for everything. I was actually talking to a listener this week that didn't know where to go for my Amazon link and didn't know where to go for the audio. And I say it in every show, and they're a long-time listener. So MikeNation.net for everything. You can email me questions and suggestions for show topics at MikeTechShow@gmail.com. You can visit my YouTube page to review and listen and watch the audio for every broadcast, and that's youtube.com/Michael Smith MTS for the Mike Tech Show. Please click subscribe while you're there. I really appreciate it. This show is brought to you by Instant House Call. Remotely support your customers, unattended and on demand. It is for all IT pros and MSP. It is robust remote support that you need. You can try it free by clicking on the link at my website at MikeNation.net. Use the promo code MikeTechShow for your free 15-day trial, or you can go right to instanthousecall.com. This show is also brought to you by MagnusBox. This is your one-stop shop for all of your clients' online backup needs. They now offer Office 365 backup. As a matter of fact, I have a conversation tomorrow with a client that is looking exactly for that for Office 365. So I will be signing them up. You can check out their free trial and experience the same features as paying partners. Very simple. Just go to magnusbox.com, mention that you heard it here on the Mike Tech Show, and you'll receive free white labeling for your company and get an additional 50% off for your first 3 months of your platform fee. So half price on the platform fee for 3 months. Go to magnusbox.com. Tonight's show have lots of things I want to cover. I want to talk about the New Year's Eve show, which was fun. And before I do that, please visit MikeNation.net and click on my Amazon link for all your purchase for Amazon. You're using Amazon, maybe friends, relatives, have them use my link because your price stays the same and a small commission comes back and supports the show, and I so greatly appreciate that. Save, bookmark it, and abuse the link. I really, really, really appreciate it. So, a little bit on the New Year's Eve show. iPhone tips. I solved 2 major problems that I was experiencing with my iPhone and an annoyance. My new MacBook Pro 14-inch. I have to talk about it. There are so many good things. I'm going to also mention they're very minor negatives, but I am going to bring a couple of them up. But I love it. 3 cybersecurity resolutions for 2022 that I'm going to implant into your head. Just 3 words that I love. And I actually stealing that from an advertisement from Malwarebytes. I have an audio review of a 3D printer from Corey Man, who's not in the... he is. Nope, he's not in the chat tonight, but he normally is. So we were talking about the 3D printer he got, and in a post show, and I asked him, hey, could you record a review and send it to me. He did. So I'm going to play that. And then I have some email, and there's going to be lots of links for tonight. So let's start with the New Year's Eve show. The show was not recorded. I did a show on the 30th. And for my rant at the end of the show, I've received email from each side, and I respect everybody's opinion, and I replied to everybody. And hey, you disagree with me, don't be afraid, and I'm so glad a couple people, hey, I'm a big boy. I can take it. And I really enjoy reading the net. Well, no, you don't ever enjoy reading negative comments, but you have a problem with something or an issue with something, let me know. Don't just be silent. Let me know. All right. Of course, we love the positives. That was great. So I was really frustrated, and so that's where that came from, out of a frustration. So now let's get back to New Year's Eve, Friday night. We used Discord. Now, Discord is a social media collaboration, and PhotoRay has done so much work, and Taz is a moderator, and with the testing that we've done, we used the meeting audio video, and there was like 6 of us off and on that we had a great time. I was on for over 6 hours. I started at 10 p.m. and we rang in the new year with Alaskan Bear Cub, who was in the session from Alaska, and I was going to sign off at 3 a.m. and I couldn't leave him hanging. 4 a.m. he was still there, and that was his midnight. So had a ring in the new year for Alaskan. So we had a lot of fun talking about a whole range of topics, and it was very, very enjoyable and a great use for Discord. There is an invitation link in the show notes at MikeNation.net. You can't miss it. If you look at every show notes, in there is the Discord invitation. Click on that. Sign up for Discord. It's free. But make sure that you go to introduce yourself. And there's one place to go. It's very obvious. Introduce yourself so we can lift your security level. And this way you'll have access to all of the forums and just everything that we're doing over there. The reason we do that is to stop bots from signing up. This way you have to say hello and say something about yourself, maybe where you're from, how long have you been listening, and just keep it short and sweet. That's all. And once you do that, we will lift your level. So one of the things that I love is during a show a few weeks ago, I mentioned about how hard it was to have multi-factor authentication for a client, and I have to log in as that client. Now I needed that user to be available, and they weren't in the office, and we're going back and forth over the cell phone, getting the codes so I could fix their problem. I could not solve this as the admin. I had to log in as them. Now, a lot of times, things that are so simple, I am overthinking it. And I know a lot of techs, a lot of people do that. I could not, I can't believe how simple this is. And Mr. Sam, who is from the Netherlands, and the reason why I know that is he actually helped PhotoRay and I do some testing before New Year's Eve. And he puts, I have listened to the show, and you asked if there was any way to log in as a user that has MFA enabled. Well, here's what we do. Either bypass the MFA feature in Azure, which acquires Azure Premium Plan 1, which they don't have, or temporarily disable the user's MFA completely in the admin center. After you're done, turn it back on and configure the MFA options. All the configured MFA options remain the same. I can't believe I didn't think of that. And I'm sharing that because that was in a software Discord forum for the Mike Tech Show for discussions on the show. And that's where I learned that. And that's why I wanted to share it. And that's awesome. A simple thing like that I missed. And now I'm sharing it. It was so obvious. I'm an admin. I can just go in, disable MFA for that user, go fix the problem, do everything I need, then go back and turn it on. Anyway, see, when they're too simple, it bypasses me sometimes, and I need someone to tell me. So thank you, Mr. Sam, for that. I really appreciate it, and just another reason to just go over to Discord and sign up, because it's really the Mike Tech Show forums. And we can leverage Meetup by video and audio. So it's very cool. So my two problems with my iPhone that was just driving me crazy. One of them I talked about, which was the inability all of a sudden, and I don't know how these settings changed, all of a sudden, my iPhone would not alert me with a new email. And that is very frustrating because I need to know when an email's coming in. Now, when I silence it, that's a different story. But when I have it on and when I don't have it muted, I want to know when an email arrives. And boy, I get a ton of email. I fixed it. I spent Tuesday. I was not going to leave where it was at here in my office. I wasn't going to do anything until I resolved this. So the first link tonight is where I pulled some of this info from, and it's 10 steps to fix iPhone email notifications not working in the Mail app. It's a mouthful. That's the link. And in there, here's what I was able to do. I had to go to, first, you have to make sure that you go to settings, sounds, and haptics, and you turn up the ringer and alerts volume. Then tap new mail. Choose an alert tone or ringtone from the list of options. There was nothing checked there. Your chosen tone shows a check mark next to it. Then this is where notifications, mail, customize notifications, and click on each mail account and turn on alerts. Everything was turned on except alerts. And I don't know how they got turned off for like 6 email addresses that I get email to on my iPhone. I turned on those alerts. I sent a test message. Bang, it started working. So now let me give you the second problem. And this all of a sudden started happening. And this is like considered a sound hack on the iPhone. And I actually heard this accidentally on Tuesday on TikTok, on someone that was given an iPhone tip on how to increase the sound for your iPad Pro, your headphone. Because all of a sudden, even though I had the volume all the way up, when I would always wear my I would always wear the right iPod Pro. I would always put that in for taking phone calls on my iPhone. And this way I could hear with my left, I can hear my environment, anything going around. And I can also tap it and say answer. So the problem was the volume was just brutal. It was so, even though I had everything cranked up, I couldn't hear anything. Go to settings, accessibility, headphone accommodations. Turn it on. Then you're going to get another menu. Go to vocal range and move the bar to strong. Problem solved. 2 major issues on my iPhone that are now solved. Now, an annoyance. With the upgrade to iOS 15, your search bar for Safari, they moved it to the bottom. Why? I don't want it to the bottom. I want it back up at the top. That's what I want. Well, you have the big A and the little a at the bottom for the search bar. You literally hold it with a finger and drag it up. I can't believe how easy that was. And when I found that and did it in like 10 seconds and completely solved that annoyance. Give me your annoyances. If you have an Android phone or iPhone annoyance, email me, MikeTechShow@gmail.com. I will do an annoyance show. And what you'll do is not only that annoyance, but I'll try to research them and see what I can get. But also other listeners may already know and they may already solved it. And I'll just act as the conduit. Okay. So one of my issues, I have a great iMac 27-inch, but it's older. It's in mint condition, but it's very old. I have my MacBook Pro 2010 that I absolutely love. It's got 8 gig of RAM. It's got a great solid state drive that I upgraded to it. It still has an optical drive. It's a 13-inch. I love it. Well, it can no longer support the latest operating systems. They've just cut it off. And there's no technical reason. They just, it's greed. So I have Mac clients. Not a lot, but enough that I guess, yes, I needed an excuse, but also I need to support my clients. So I'm getting this and showing it in the chat. This is my new MacBook Pro 14-inch, and it's the M1 Pro processor. I am going to spend a few minutes talking about this. I have a couple clients that are 100% Mac. I have 2 photographers, and you've heard me talk about them for different things because they both have Synologies for storing all their photographs. I have a dental office that is 100% Mac. They even have a Mac server, and their server software that is for the Mac. There's a few dental offices that are orthodontists that uses the TOPS Ortho program, and that only runs on a Mac. So I have to stay with it because they keep updating and making sure it's the latest, greatest. I have to have the latest, greatest. So I did my homework and I picked the 14-inch because it seemed like it was the sweet spot in price, although not cheap. And I got the minimum entry point for the 14-inch. So a couple links here that I am going to have. Also, something else I have to test is VPN connections with OpenVPN, and I use TunnelBlick on the Mac. So this is very important that I get to keep, working with this. So I ordered it from online, which they had no stocks, and there's a store in Tampa. There's an Apple store, and they were out of stock. Thursday night after my show, I went online, and they had them in. And this is like 11 o'clock at night. When I seen it could be delivered by 11:30 the next day, I had to be here in person, and for free delivery, I did that. Oh my God. When I got it, so quick. Opened it up. It's gorgeous. I'm going to go over a few things, and I have a great links. First, it's not the lightest thing in the world. It's 3.5 pounds. This minimum configuration, it's 512 gig SSD and 16 gigs of RAM. 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports, and we're going to get into that and some of the adapters that I had to get. They went back to an HDMI port, a traditional HDMI, but there's also a negative to that. And the SD card reader they added, there's a negative to that. And they went to MagSafe 3 port again. A little negative to that too. So let's go over the negatives and then all of the positives, which there are so many. The HDMI port, if you're going to go to that detail and to be this high-end laptop, why would you put an HDMI 2 and not 2.1? It's not a deal breaker, but why not put the 2.1? You know the Thunderbolt 4 port 1 can drive 2 4K external monitors. So why would you not do HDMI 2.1? Don't understand that. The SD card reader, there has been a lot written online. It seems like it fails with certain SD cards, and it's been failing at a rate that Apple has now recognized that, and they have to release a software fix. They say it's via software, they'll fix it. I have another way of working around that too. It's something I'm going to show you. But again, that's not a big thing for me. Now, the MagSafe 3 port, it's great. They now have an updated power cord that's a braided cable. I love the braided cables. And it's not that vinyl old Apple cord that you used to get. Though it's so tight, I watched someone on YouTube that wanted to test it breakaway. And when it did break away, it almost pulled the whole MacBook off the table. Not only when he deliberately caused to pretend tripping, he broke the cable. The cable no longer works. I just thought that was funny. So with this, and I'll show you the ports. So this is the MagSafe, and then you have 2 Thunderbolt 4s, and then an incredible jack for the headset. And I said incredible because wait until I talk about that. On this side, you have the card reader, another Thunderbolt port, and then the HDMI port. A Touch ID for your fingerprint. You absolutely save your fingerprint. I love this because Apple, in their infinite wisdom of locking things down and being secure, you are constantly prompted for your password. When you program and have a finger, it's gorgeous. As a matter of fact, I even use that now for RoboForm and for some other software. I integrate and just touch it, and it's at the far top right, and it actually works as the power button. Now, it automatically turns on every time you turn it off, but when you just lift the lid, it automatically turns on. But having that, it's great. That's not the best thing. The best thing, it's the most amazing display that I have ever seen. It is a Liquid Retina XDR. The resolution is 3024 by 1964 pixels. It invokes Mac Pro Motion as you move things and move screens. The Mac has this Pro Motion. And Taco in the chat, yes, he mentions if you have an Apple Watch, you can unlock it too. And of course, I have my Apple Watch 7. Yeah, I'm like all in now on in the Apple ecosystem here. So it's crazy high brightness and clarity that I have never seen on a monitor. It is, especially a laptop. It is incredible. This MacBook has a 6-speaker sound system and a woofer. A 6-speaker sound system. I'm playing stuff. I'm like, it is incredible. It has an amazing built-in microphone. This is my portable recording studio. If I ever go on and visit anybody and I got to do a podcast, or if I ever have that meetup, I'm recording on this. I put Audacity on this for the Mac. I record it just on the built-in microphone and played it back, and it sounded phenomenal. And you know how picky I am with the sound. They've really upgraded it. And what they've done, they got rid of that stupid touch bar, and they went back to some basics, yet improved everything. I truly believe that they had a real focus group before the final design of this, and they listened. The M1 Pro processor, which is what I was scared of the most because they left Intel, well, guess what? By them going to that, and it's a 8-core CPU. Now remember, this is the entry level of the 14-inch, and it's a 14-core GPU. The battery life has doubled. When they went to M1 Pro from Intel, they doubled the battery life. Unbelievable. So with all of this, you have to get a few things. If you don't live in a current USB-C Thunderbolt world, well, you need a few things. And I'm going to have links to this if you need it. First, you got to have a Bluetooth mouse because you don't want to waste a port. This little Bluetooth mouse, I'm going to have a link. It's like $12 from Amazon. To go to USB, this is like a great $8 solution. It is USB-C to USB. And it's perfect. It's tiny, and you just plug it right in, and it works perfectly. I tested with a lot of USB sticks and different devices, and it worked great. So you get 2 of them, and it was like $8.75 or something. So again, that link will be in the show notes. Something that's inexpensive, and it's interesting, in the pre-show, I was complaining about this. This is that rose gold. I ordered this little hub as space gray, so it matches my MacBook. But of course, they didn't ship that. They shipped the rose gold. And I'm deciding whether I'm going to take it back or not, so I'm not sure. Well, here's what it does. You plug in the USB-C. There's 2 of them connected, and so it takes both of them. Well, guess what else it does when you do that? It goes just enough where you can't charge it. You can't use the MagSafe port because this blocks it. Now you get 3 USB ports. You get a pass-through USB-C, and then you get another double card reader. This is where, if you use this card reader, it's definitely going to work better than the built-in one. Now, the built-in one should work. They are going to fix it, but if you have, like I have, photographers that are clients, and if they go to this, they have to be able to read all of their camera SD cards. And that's why Apple had to put that back in to the MacBook Pro. And I get it. It's very important for a lot of users that I have. Well, this forced me to purchase a cable. And I wanted to make sure you have the big charger adapter that comes with a USB-C to the MagSafe port. So you get that cable and you can unplug it. Well, could I charge successfully using a USB4 braided cable, and this is 4 foot. It's very expensive though. If 4 foot cable shouldn't cost $30, but it is Thunderbolt 4. I plugged this into the charger adapter and right into one of the USB-C ports, charging no problem. I also plugged it in case I'm ever using this and I want to charge it. I just plugged that in and it worked perfectly. So I tested all of the charging capabilities and they worked flawlessly with the charger that you're given. So I love that it's all USB-C. Yeah, we have to go through some adapters and a couple things right now, but it's well worth it because I'd rather embrace the future instead of the past when it comes to those ports. So I now have all my little add-ons and I'm ready to tackle the world. A double thumbs up. There is no deal breaker here. The software, the CPU is extremely fast, but I am not doing video editing. And these high end, and if you really want to push the processor, if you are doing some 8K video editing, you can do that. And you certainly want the M1 Pro Max. So if you're dealing with lots of high-end video and doing lots of video editing, that's what's going to force you into the Max processor, which then you're now really paying some serious money. A tip. When you are online and you're placing your order, and I want you to do it online, I don't want you to walk into a store, and here's why. Go down to the bottom of the page before you start configuring everything and pick, you're buying it for education, bang. $150 is going to come off the price of the laptop, and all of the accessories, as you start bumping them up, they're going to be cheaper. I just saved you a lot of money that made it worth listening to the show. So here's what I ask. In return for that, use my Amazon link to buy all your accessories. So anyway, remember that when you ever on the Apple site. They don't ask you any questions. They don't do anything. It just reduces the prices. All right. Now, as I was doing this, and I've been just immersed into my MacBook, trying to squeeze as much out of it as I can and learn everything that I can, I came across an unbelievable set of tips in a YouTube video. And I'm not going to play the video, but I am going to go to the video site. And the reason I'm going to go to the video site is because I want to show you the links at the bottom, which is very important. And what I'm now going to do is display real quick. So this link will be in the show notes, but if you go to these 30 MacBook tips, you can click right now. Let's see. Hold on a second. Where is... I'm going to pause. I'm pausing the audio. Oh, show more. There we go. All right. So don't have the screen maximized. And what you can do is click show more in the notes for this video, and you literally have every single timestamp where it'll take you to that part of the video for each of these tips. There are some incredible, I mean, just unbelievable tips here that you are going to want to take advantage of. And I just, it's amazing. Like, here's one that is the ability to automatically hide and show the dock. That's fine. But and the menu bar, but you can also make sure that it pops quickly and there's no delay. And he gives you the terminal code that you can cut and paste. This is just amazing, and they're great tips. They're the best ones that I've seen, and I am going to have that in the show notes. Also, you can see I last purchased this. The USB4 cable, it's $26.90. Okay. The adapters are $8.89, where you get two for the USB to the little dock. As you see, I ordered space gray, but they gave me the rose color. And what they don't show you here on the picture is that it's covering that MagSafe port. And then the mouse, $12.69. Great mouse. All these links will be in the show notes. So now, before I get to email, what I am going to do is play a voicemail from Corey Man, who's a listener in the chat. He got a 3D printer for Christmas, and I asked him to give me a review. Here it is.
Hey Mike, it's Coreyman2000 from the Twitch chat. I just want to tell you about my experience I have with a few 3D printers, new and old, that I have. This is my second printer, so I have about 2.5 years of printing experience. I primarily print parts for racing drones. Yes, I do fly racing drones as a hobby. Print mainly GoPro mounts, some models for the kids to paint, and a few things around the house. My first 3D printer model was called Ender 3, and second printer is the V2, so the upgraded version of that. Both cost around $250 Canadian, and were purchased off Amazon. First, let me off by start saying that you must have patience with these, both for waiting for the printer to print and also working through the initial hurdles of getting it tuned so that it prints well. Because of the low price of the printer, it does require you to assemble it fully, so it takes a bit of time. It took me about 2 to 4 hours to build it. There are other printers that cost a bit more that are already assembled, so if that's something that you want to hassle, you can also purchase the upgraded one that already has it assembled for you. So depending on the size of the print that you're printing, it could take upwards of 10 minutes to 24 hours to print an item. So you have to have some patience there, and hopefully that it doesn't fail halfway through and that. So there's a bit of tweaking that needs to happen. I did have my fair share of failed prints when I began, but thankfully the 3D printing community online, Facebook or Reddit, helped me a lot through the struggles of getting the darn thing to print. This took roughly 2 weeks on and off working, and can get quite frustrating that sometimes, so I had to sort of put it on the side for a bit. So this may not be for everyone, but after this I learned a lot and don't have any issues after. Some of the benefits I found for 3D printing was I was able to quickly print a few things around the house that broke, such as dishwasher clips for the bottom tray, a handle off that broke off the washing machine, little things like that. And the kids really like figurines to print. But my main purpose was to print drone parts that I can, strap onto the drone. That didn't come with it too. A lot of times was just for the GoPro mounts. There are many community-free model prints that people put on the internet for you to print. There's the whole idea as well as you can create your own creation. I haven't gotten into the modeling or CAD yet, but there's lots of online prints that you can print. If you have CAD skills, you can create your own print, do prototyping, designs. For me, I consider 3D printing as a hobby. It does take some time investment, but for me as a techie, it's been great. I hope to see in the coming future where 3D printers become more affordable and a little bit easier to manage when doing the prints, so you have better prints, easier to operate. But like everything as a tech, it's just a matter of time before it improves, much like computer has. And yeah, let me know if there's any questions you'd like to discuss regarding 3D printers. I'm happy to share. And Happy New Year's, everyone, and stay safe.
Thank you, Corey, man. That was awesome. And, you know, I'm not a designer or I'm not a CAD person, but interesting. A young engineer who is with one of my biggest clients that's a manufacturer, he brought his own 3D printer in when he started. He has modeled and did a prototype for things for clients that it just blew them away, because now they're going to make that, on a machine that's the size of a house, the machine. And this is a huge manufacturing facility. And it was great seeing him work that 3D printer and do the 3D modeling. Now, a Corey man he invested the time and had some things that he wanted to do with the GoPro. I get it. As a matter of fact, in the New Year's Eve chat, something that came up, which is being able to make, because they cost $10, for the Logitech webcams, the privacy shield, it costs $10 to buy that. That's something that we could easily make on a 3D printer. And I'm just wondering how much that would cost for a 3D printer to print that. But would it be worth the investment of the time and then the patience of getting that to work? It's not, for me, it's not important enough for me to make that time investment in trying to get it to work. I know when I'll jump on the bandwagon. When the price drops, the quality goes up, and there's less entry point to get it working. But clearly, if you're willing to invest the time, then you go right ahead. Something I have to look at the email. I don't know I think he has the model in there, and if he does, I will make sure that's definitely in the show notes. Okay, something I promised. 3 simple cybersecurity resolutions for 2022. I got this in an email from Malwarebytes, and there are 3 words that you want to communicate to your clients. Yes, no, and whoa. Yes. Installing updates promptly is one of the best ways to be more cyber secure. Next time an app offers you an update, click yes instead of no, instead of cancel or remind me later. So that's yes. No to feeble passwords. Strong passwords keep your data safe. So don't let yourself choose feeble passwords in 2022. And if somebody shares a password with you or asks for yours, just say no. Say whoa to unexpected messages. Scams come in all shapes and sizes, but no matter how they're dressed up, they always want something valuable, urgently. Don't be rushed. Take your time in 2022. And to me, I'll add, if somebody asks you to do something, a website, anything, don't do it. Or at least vet it. So, yes, no, and whoa. I love that. That's why I had to share that. That was so simple. I have a final email that was sent to me by Ron B., and it's an Ask Woody link. And this is, thank you, Microsoft, for the end of the year server problems. Now, I'm lucky I do not have any on-prem Exchange servers. But if you do, the year started out with a problem with Exchange servers 2016 and 2019. And there's a problem. If your email isn't running, which, by January 6th, if your email is not running, you probably have solved this already. There is a workaround, and the command is in there, and it's an Ask Woody site. Ron, thank you. And I did read about this, and he sent this with the link. I appreciate it. That will be in the show notes. That's it for the first show of 2022. A teaser for next week. I have one link that has over 100 websites that you are going to absolutely love, many of them. And I guarantee you have not heard of a lot of them. And I have been playing with them this week. I'm like blown away. The whole show is going to be a productivity show dedicated to these web apps and websites that you are going to want to have. And you are going to bookmark this one link that leads to everything. That's the show for next week. And with that, please support the sponsors. Instant House Call, the best remote support. Clearly, you're an MSP. You are a tech consultant. That's what you need. Next, Magnus Box for all of your online backup needs. And of course, Fab's Auto Backup, that program, we use it all the time for transferring your data from one machine to another. I could share so many stories of Fabs that are, literally almost every day we're using that software. Amazon, please remember to go MikeNation.net, click on the Amazon link, and you're gonna love it. That is your price. I gotta say that again. Hold on. Click on that Amazon link. Your price stays the same, but you support the show and the content that I'm developing and sharing with you. Thank you so much. That's it. Everybody have a great week. See you back here, same time, same channel. Bye-bye. All right, let's stop the